Someone is deeply obsessed with you, yet being together is not possible. At this moment, your intuition likely already recognizes this truth, even if your mind attempts to dismiss it. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and focus carefully, because what you're about to hear is not a coincidence, nor is it something you simply imagined. The person who just appeared in your thoughts did not arrive there by accident. There is a powerful, quiet bond between the two of you, one that neither of you can clearly explain or easily escape. This is not a passing thought. It is profound, steady, and impossible to deny. They feel drawn to you in a way that is both intense and restrained, a feeling they may have never allowed themselves to experience before. Yet something continues to keep you apart. Something about this connection makes it seem restricted or forbidden. Understanding the reason behind this will change the way you view every thought, every emotion, and every moment you share. Even when there is distance between you, someone is strongly fixated on you, but this connection cannot fully unfold. This situation points to two important truths that you need to recognize. Before continuing, take another slow and steady breath, because this message is not appearing by random chance. You did not encounter this moment accidentally. The person who just came to mind is there for a specific reason. There is someone in your life or someone who repeatedly enters your thoughts without warning, who feels a very powerful bond with you. This is not a fleeting or surface level feeling. It is not light, and it is not temporary. It is deep, stable, quiet, and persistent. They are captivated by you, but not in a loud, chaotic, or overly dramatic manner. Instead, it is a controlled and measured emotion, something they may never have permitted themselves to feel before. However, this bond seems restricted. Not because love is absent, but because something is standing in the way. That sense of limitation reveals two very important realities. These truths explain why the bond feels so powerful, why there is distance between you, and why neither of you is able to fully move forward or completely let go. Let us begin. Welcome to the Shadow Self. Please remember to subscribe, click the bell icon, and select all notifications, because every video may help you view things from a different perspective and could even change the way you think first. It is important to understand one essential fact. When a relationship feels restricted, it does not automatically mean that it is weak. In many cases, the opposite is true. Bonds that feel forbidden are rarely superficial. They do not start simply because life is easy. They do not appear out of boredom, nor are they created by loneliness or a passing attraction. Instead, they arise from a deep recognition within both the heart and the mind. This person did not consciously plan to develop these feelings for you. It unfolded slowly and then seemed to happen all at once. At first, you were simply someone they noticed. Then you became someone they appreciated, someone they respected, and eventually someone they trusted. Before they fully realized how it began, you had become the person they could not stop thinking about. What makes this connection forbidden is not the absence of love. The real barriers are circumstances, timing, responsibilities, fears, or moral limits that stand in the way. This is where the first important truth appears. Because of you, this person is confronting their own mind every single day. They are not fighting against you. They are struggling with their own emotions. They wake up with thoughts of you, already present, and almost immediately remind themselves why they should not allow those thoughts to continue. They replay your conversations in their mind, and then criticize themselves for smiling. They imagine what it might feel like to be close to you, and then quickly push those ideas away because wanting you feels unsettling. The fear is not directed at their heart. It is directed at the life they have created and the principles they follow. For some people, this means they are already committed to someone else. For others, it involves family expectations, cultural traditions, social pressure, or moral boundaries they were taught never to cross. Sometimes one of you is simply unavailable in a way that makes everything complicated. In other situations, the connection challenges everything they once believed they wanted from life. Rather than acting, they choose restraint. Instead of speaking, they remain silent. Instead of reaching out, they continue observing from a distance. Here is something many people fail to recognize. Silence does not mean the absence of feeling. In many cases, it means the emotions are simply too strong and difficult to control. This person is far from calm when it comes to you. Their feelings run deep, yet they express them quietly. They do not speak because speaking could open a door they fear they might not be able to close. They do not act because acting would force them to face consequences they are not prepared to handle. They do not move closer because proximity could reveal truths they have been hiding, even from themselves. Carl Jung once said that what you resist tends to grow stronger. That is exactly what is happening in this situation. Each time they try not to reach out, the feeling becomes deeper. Each time they hold themselves back, the connection grows even stronger. Every time they deny their emotions, the connection stays hidden rather than fading away. Emotions that are pushed down do not disappear. Instead, they grow stronger over time. This explains the unusual back-and-forth energy you often feel. It explains why you can sense them even when they are not physically present. It also explains why thoughts of them arise unexpectedly. Without any effort on your part, it may even be the reason your mood changes for no clear cause. At times, you might feel their presence lingering, even in quiet moments. You may sense a current of unfinished energy still existing between you. This happens because hidden feelings rarely disappear. They simply wait. Carl Jung once explained that until the hidden parts of the mind are recognized, they continue to influence your life, and you may interpret that influence as fate. Much of what connects you right now remains unspoken, unseen, and unresolved because these emotions stay in the shadows. They operate beneath the surface, creating tension, strong feelings, and inner conflict. This person carries thoughts of you privately even while the world only sees a calm and composed exterior. They may appear controlled and steady, but inside there is a constant struggle, a push and pull. Desire followed by restraint. This does not happen because you are unimportant. It happens because you matter too much. They may fear disrupting their life, going against their values, or beginning something they cannot easily stop. That internal struggle becomes exhausting. It explains why the connection can sometimes feel heavy, why the intensity remains even without conversation, why distance does not always bring peace. Jung also said that when two people meet, it is similar to the interaction of two chemicals. If any reaction occurs, both are changed. In the same way, you have already been affected. Both of you, whether consciously or unconsciously, have been transformed simply by knowing one another. Something within you has shifted through the experience of feeling them. This is not imagination, and it is not an error. It is a bond that exists beyond simple logic and ordinary reasoning. That is also why time alone does not erase it. The connection is not maintained by habit. It continues because of its meaning. Jung wrote that where love leads, the need for power disappears. In a connection like this, control is not the objective, and dominance is not the intention. That is why the situation can sometimes feel confusing. There are no games involved, and there is no manipulation. It is simply two people affected by something they never planned, and do not fully understand how to place within their ordinary lives. As this unfolds, one truth becomes clear. You are not a distraction, and you are not a mistake. You cannot simply be replaced. You are part of a story that has already begun guiding both of you toward a deeper understanding. As this understanding deepens, the meaning of this forbidden connection continues to unfold slowly, revealing itself layer by layer with patience, until the next truth naturally comes forward. And as that truth begins to settle within you, another realization becomes difficult to ignore. This connection does not behave like an ordinary crush. It does not weaken with distance, does not fade through logic, nor does it disappear simply because it is inconvenient. Instead, it quietly follows both of you. You may notice that even when you are busy, even when life pulls your attention in many different directions, this person returns to your thoughts without effort. It is not because you are intentionally trying to remember them, but because something unresolved continues to stir beneath the surface. The same process is happening on their side as well. They may spend days appearing completely unaffected. They may look focused on their work, their family, their daily routine, and their responsibilities. Yet underneath that surface, something continues returning to what remains incomplete. They remember the way you made them feel understood without needing to explain themselves. They remember how natural it felt to talk with you, the quiet recognition, and the unusual sense that they had known you for a very long time. They remember moments that carried more meaning than they logically should have. And that is precisely why it unsettles them. Once someone feels seen at that level, it becomes impossible to reverse that experience. This is where many people misunderstand forbidden connections. They often assume distance exists because one person cares less. But in many cases, the opposite is true. Distance is not always created by a lack of feeling. Sometimes it appears because the feelings are simply too strong. This person understands that if they take even one step closer, returning to who they were before may no longer be possible. They sense that something irreversible could begin the moment they become fully honest. They are not yet ready to dismantle the life they have carefully constructed, even if that life no longer completely fits who they are. So instead, they choose control over honesty. They choose structure over emotion. They choose the familiar discomfort they already know, rather than facing a truth they still feel uncertain about. But this decision comes with a cost. Every time they suppress what they truly feel, it does not disappear. It simply changes form inside them. It begins to appear as restlessness, distraction, and a growing sense of emotional distance from the people they are supposed to feel close to. They may begin questioning relationships that once felt stable and safe. They might start wondering why something inside feels incomplete. They may ask themselves why the answers that once satisfied them no longer feel convincing. They might never say your name aloud, yet you quietly become a standard against which they measure parts of their life. You represent a version of emotional honesty that they have not yet allowed themselves to live. This is exactly why the connection continues to feel unfinished. It is not simply about two people wanting each other. It is about two lives standing at the edge of a significant change. You feel this shift as well, even if you cannot fully explain it. After meeting them, you may notice that your standards have quietly changed. What you are willing to accept no longer feels the same. What you genuinely want becomes clearer, and things you once tolerated now begin to feel empty. You may find yourself less willing to accept someone who is only partially present emotionally. You may also notice that your patience for connections without depth has decreased. Now, you recognize more clearly what a genuine bond truly feels like. This awareness did not appear by chance. It developed through recognition and inner understanding. At this point, the second layer of meaning begins to emerge. This connection is not simply about wanting someone. It is about awakening. Some relationships exist to create a shared future, while others appear to awaken you to your own truth. This connection belongs to the second category. This does not mean it could never develop into something greater, but its first purpose lies within personal awareness. You encountered this person at a time in your life when something inside you was ready to be awakened. At the same time, they met you while quietly questioning the life they were living, even if they never openly expressed it. That is why the attraction feels both powerful and confusing. In many ways, you reflect each other. You reveal the parts of them they have kept hidden, and they reveal aspects of you that were waiting to be recognized. A connection like this does not follow ordinary timing. It does not move quickly or announce itself clearly. Instead, it works gradually within you, shifting your priorities, values, and awareness. This is why even moments of silence between you can feel significant, because something continues to move beneath the surface. You may wonder why letting go feels so difficult. You may question why logic cannot resolve it, or why convincing yourself that nothing can happen does not create a sense of freedom. The reason is that this bond is not sustained by imagination. It continues because of a truth that has not yet fully been experienced. And once a truth is felt deeply, it cannot easily be forgotten. You are not only holding on to a person, you are holding on to a moment of emotional clarity that transformed your perspective. In many ways, they are experiencing something similar. However, this does not mean you should wait or place your life on pause. It does not suggest abandoning your present for an uncertain possibility. Instead, it encourages you to understand what this connection is revealing to you. It shows how deeply your heart is capable of feeling. It reveals the type of connection that supports and nourishes you rather than exhausting you. It reminds you that genuine emotion exists beyond what is simply comfortable or safe. And whether they acknowledge it or not, it is influencing them in a similar way. What happens next cannot be forced, cannot be accelerated by desire, changed by silence, or controlled by pursuing them. This is because a connection of this kind only opens when honesty becomes stronger than fear. Until that moment arrives, it remains in an in-between state. It is not completely gone, yet it is not fully present either. It continues to exist in thoughts, feelings, and in quiet moments where truth speaks softly rather than loudly. As time passes, the tension between who they are now and who they are becoming will continue to grow. The same process is happening within you. Eventually, something will shift because a mind that has awakened cannot remain asleep forever. And when this shift finally happens, it will not come simply from wanting. It will come from being truly ready. Readiness does not arrive with a loud signal. It does not show up through dramatic gestures or sudden conversations. Instead, it appears quietly through discomfort and the gradual awareness that something inside no longer fits the life they are living. For them, it often begins as a small crack. They start to notice that the roles they perform feel heavier than they once did. Responsibilities they previously accepted without hesitation may now feel restrictive. Their emotional patterns begin to feel empty, even when everything looks stable on the outside. You are not the cause of that crack. You are the light that made it visible. You did not interrupt their life. You simply revealed the parts that were already out of alignment. This is why the connection may feel threatening to them. It's not because it puts their safety at risk, but because it challenges the carefully built version of the life they created. Comfortable lives can sometimes be built on illusions. Truth is different. Truth asks for responsibility. Truth asks for courage. It requires someone to face their feelings honestly and decide whether they are brave enough to live according to them. Many people are not prepared to make that decision when the feeling first appears, so they delay. They create explanations. They convince themselves that it is only a temporary phase. They believe it might be imagination. They assume the feeling will fade if they ignore it long enough. But deep connections rarely disappear through neglect. Instead, they build pressure over time. This is why you may experience cycles of closeness followed by distance. Moments when they seem emotionally present, and then suddenly withdraw. Times when the connection feels strong even without a single word spoken. That back and forth does not necessarily mean they are uncertain about you. It reflects an internal conflict. They are standing at a crossroads between who they used to be and who they are gradually becoming, and you represent that doorway on your side. The point where change and personal growth are beginning. At the same time, something equally meaningful is happening within you. You are learning to see situations with greater clarity. You are beginning to recognize the difference between intense emotion and genuine alignment. You are discovering how simple attraction differs from a connection that truly resonates on a deeper level. This connection did not enter your life to control it or take it over. It came to bring clarity and awareness to your inner world. You may notice that shallow attention no longer excites you the way it once did. You may also feel less interested in seeking validation from others. Just to confirm your worth, you are realizing that making yourself smaller to keep someone else comfortable is no longer necessary. This is not accidental. It is a clear sign of growth and transformation taking place. This bond is teaching you how to value and respect yourself. Even without needing to say a single word, it offers you a glimpse of what it feels like to be emotionally aligned with someone. Even when the connection has not fully formed yet. Once you have experienced this feeling, it becomes difficult to ignore or pretend that it is insignificant. This is exactly why the connection feels so different. Different does not mean perfect. It does not mean everything will always be smooth. It does not promise a specific result. However, it does mean the connection holds meaning, regardless of how things unfold. Whether this relationship eventually becomes long-term or remains incomplete, it has already served part of its purpose. It has widened your emotional awareness and strengthened your intuition. It has helped you recognize what truly matters to you in love, and it has likely done the same for the other person involved. That is why neither of you can easily dismiss. It is not a simple path that either of you is walking. You may question why the timing appears so inconvenient. Why did this connection enter your life at a moment when it could not fully develop? But timing is rarely about punishment or barriers. More often, it is about preparation. Sometimes two people enter each other's lives not to unite immediately, but to grow individually first. Without that internal change, even the strongest connection can collapse under the pressure of fear, old habits, or unresolved patterns. At this moment, both of you are being encouraged to focus on something deeper than simply wanting each other. You are being asked to confront the truth within yourselves. For them, the question is whether they are ready to live with honesty, even if it brings difficult consequences. For you, the question is whether you are willing to respect and value yourself, even when waiting feels like the most difficult decision. This is where patience becomes important. Not a passive patience based only on hope, but a patience rooted in trusting yourself and your personal growth. You are not meant to place your life on pause. You are not meant to remain trapped in longing or constant expectation. Instead, you are meant to continue moving forward, making choices, evolving, and living your life fully. If this connection is meant to develop into something lasting, it will only happen when both of you are able to meet each other fully without hesitation, without concealment, and without partial effort. And even if it never grows into a shared life, its influence will remain because it is already redirected. Your inner compass. That is not a loss. It is a beginning. Many people move through life without ever encountering a connection that truly awakens them. They settle for relationships that feel secure but lack depth, choosing comfort instead of truth. You did not choose that path. You encountered something genuine enough to challenge your old patterns, reveal your fears, and require personal growth. That alone makes this bond different from anything you have known before. As time moves forward, clarity will naturally appear. It's not through pressure, and not through waiting passively, but by living honestly and acting with integrity. People either rise to the truth they feel within, or they return to what feels safe and familiar.
Ow.
Both directions eventually reveal the answer, and you will not need to pursue it. It will show itself through actions, decisions, and the natural flow of life, until that clarity arrives. Trust what this connection has already offered you. It has given you awareness. Once awareness appears, nothing remains the same. As your awareness continues to deepen, a quiet but lasting shift begins. You stop trying to define the connection. You stop insisting on explanations for why it exists. Instead, you begin to observe what it is awakening inside you. This is the moment when your power begins to return. The most difficult aspect of a forbidden or complicated connection is not desire itself. It is the risk of losing yourself well, trying to understand every detail. And you are no longer doing that. You're starting to notice how grounded you feel when you place yourself first, how peaceful you feel when you stop searching for constant signs. How clear your mind becomes when you no longer analyze every pause or moment of silence. This shift is far more significant than it might initially appear. While this connection may once have drawn you in with intense emotion, it is now teaching you something much deeper. It is teaching you how to remain your own person. You are beginning to understand that a true connection does not require you to abandon your identity. Real love does not ask you to remain in confusion or pain to prove its worth. Deep emotions do not require suffering to confirm that they are real. This understanding is important, whether your path continues with this person or moves in another direction. On their side, however, inner tension continues to grow. While you are consciously learning this lesson, they are still dealing with their own internal conflict. They are slowly recognizing the difference between the version of themselves that follows rules and expectations, and the version that feels alive and authentic when they think about you. That contrast cannot be ignored forever. People may delay conversations. avoid making decisions, or postpone facing conflict. But they cannot avoid themselves indefinitely. Eventually, small cracks begin to appear, not loudly or dramatically, but quietly,